Hello, welcome to Simon Shed. It's time for another Engage layout update, and coming up in this update, finishing off the signals and let there be lights, tiny little lights. But first I just want to say a huge thanks to Stuart Grant, who after my last video where I mentioned I needed to buy a new accessory decoder because I'd ran out of ports to put the signals in, offered to send me one that he had spare. So yeah, I sent him my address and he posted that to me, and hopefully you have got my reply by post, Stuart, so many thanks for sending that through. That's awesome, and you know, the rest of you subscribers might want to think about raising your game. That's set the standard now. Anyway, let's crack on with the update. So if you've seen my last video, the how-to on the signals, you would have seen me putting in this dipole signal. They're all wired in, all DCC controlled now, and I've also done the other one, which is over there. So there's the other one in position and with the base pretty well disguised, and again all wired in and all working fine over DCC. So that's another little addition done, and yeah, really pleased with how they've turned out. So I have got around to putting some lights on the layout, and basically all I did was went to kiteslights.com. I'm sure most of you will have heard of that. If not, it's KYTES lights, kiteslights.com, and just picked a few of the Engage lights that look good, and bought 3 different types and thought I'd give those a try. Now, in terms of the voltages, we've got these, which are kind of sort of old-fashioned street lights stroke yard lights. They're already 12 volts, so that's fine if you're coming up at 12 volt supply. The other type, which I've put all of them onto the layout, so I've got none left in the bag to show you, but here they are. These types, they're more sort of station lighting, and they came with resistors. Now they were I think 3 volts, but they came with resistors, so you just put the resistor in series, in other words in line with the light, and that sorts it out, so you can then use 12 volts with that. These, which are tiny little grain of wheat lights, what you can do, as you can see, there's 6 volts, and what you can do is just wire 2 together in series, so just connect 2 together. Like that, so you'd literally have positive and negative, and connect the 2 together, and apparently that is fine then to run them on 12 volts. So I'll talk about the power source in a second, but as you can see we've got a new pair of wires coming out of here, so I've done a completely separate wiring system for the lights. So let's have a look underneath the layout. So all I've done is brought the power source into this terminal block, and essentially the 3 different types of lights I mentioned, I've put them in 3 different connections on the terminal block, and I've just looped the power back around for now, but that means if I ever need to control them separately, I can just take these out and put separate power feeds in, because as it was the first time I did this, I didn't really know how many lights I could put on one power source and things like that, so I just left it flexible, and it's worked out okay. Now just quickly, if you are an electronics numpty like me, I'll just quickly go through some things that don't work. Basically what I wanted is a way of controlling the brightness, and so initially what I did was use the accessory output on there, which is, it says 15 volts DC. I tested it. I did actually get around to getting a multimeter and tested that. It's actually about 14 volts. It seems to be coming out of there. So I tried it anyway, and it was quite bright, the lights were quite bright. So I did a bit of research and found that this, or these little things, are called potentiometers, and you can use them to vary the voltage. So I thought, brilliant, I'll wire one of those in, and looked up how to wire it in. Wired it in, switched it on, and it was fine. The lights came on really bright. Went to turn it down to lower the voltage, and lots of nice smoke came out of the potentiometer. Tried it with the other one, and exactly the same thing happened. And basically, after a lot of searching, I eventually found that you're only supposed to use these potentiometers to control another circuit, not directly in a circuit that takes a lot of power. Now, I wouldn't have thought a few tiny little light bulbs would have been a lot of power, but apparently it's far too much power for these potentiometers, so scrap that idea. Would have been nice to be able to just turn the brightness up and down like that, but that didn't work. So I was looking for one of those plugs where you can, it's got a little dial on, and you can, a little transformer plug where you can set the voltage yourself. But then I thought, I've got this lying around doing nothing, and this is 12 volts DC, so in the end I found that this, I haven't connected it permanently yet, but this is connected into the light socket, and I can vary the brightness. It actually needs to be right on full power to actually get it near to where I want it to be in terms of the brightness, but it's doing the job for now, so that's how it's powered. So the intention was, I think I said before, literally just let's learn how to put some lights on and light one, maybe two buildings. It didn't quite turn out like that. As you can see, I'll do some shots with it to darken down a bit in a minute, but you can see there's definitely more than one or two lights on there. So yeah, once I put the first few lights on, I think the first ones I put on were the ones over on the station there, and that looked really good. So I just kept adding more and more lights. The buildings were the hardest because, as I say, I didn't really intend to put that many lights on, so I glued all the buildings down already. So I had to actually drill upwards, up through the baseboard, and try and hit the middle of the building, which fortunately I did. Apart from one building, there is underneath that car there in the car park, there is a hole where I came up in the wrong place, but luckily I managed to come up in the buildings that I did like. But let's take a closer look. Let's start over here. You can see I've got the managed to come up inside the cottages with the grain of wheat type bulb, and got a little street light. Sort of, well, it's more of a station light really over there, but it looks like a street light. So I've put that in there. So really pleased with how they've turned out. So I've turned the lights back on a bit in here so that we can actually see the lights rather than just the glare of the glare from the lights on the layout. So you can see on the station I've got the other three station lights, and over here we've got a couple of the bigger sort of yard lights. I've taken the white covers off from underneath. Initially when they were plugged into the Hornby controller, I think because it was giving out too much power, they got really hot and a couple of them fell off, and they looked like they were starting to melt. But actually, as they came off, I thought they looked better anyway, so I took the rest off. And there's one there, and there's also a couple in the pub garden over here. So yeah, just left those off. I think they look really good. The rest of the lights are inside the houses, so you can't inside here and the pub. So I'll just turn the lights down again because you can't actually see them at the moment. There we go, you can now see that there's lights inside these two buildings of the brewery. And if we spin it round, you can just see a subtle bit of lighting in the pub. And finally the engine shed, you can see light in there, and you can also see the girders that I put inside, which are lit up quite nicely. So glad I put that extra effort into putting those in, because I didn't think they'd ever be seen. So there's the full effect. And I'm really pleased with that. It's really quite addictive when you start adding lights. Temptation is to just keep adding and adding to them. But I'm happy. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm happy with how they look. So there we are. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and stuff. There will be another update along very shortly. I've already done some more to the layout and filmed some more bits to show you. But this video is getting a bit long, so I decided to split it into a new one. So yes, hopefully in a week or so, or maybe even less, there will be another video along. And just to give you a sneaky peek. Yes, I've been let loose with an airbrush, so that should be interesting. So see you next time, and thanks for watching.